Welcome to Talking with Teachers. I'm Hannah,
I'm Maria.
and we are professionals in the early childhood education program here to answer any questions that the parents may have. Today we are talking about families and adopted children.
We have this nifty little slideshow. I'm adopted!
Surprise!
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but okay. So this is how to tell your child that they're adopted. I guess first things first is, should I tell them? We both are going to take this standpoint that you do want to tell them. So here's some pros to telling them and why you should tell them early. First things first, it reduces the shock. If they were to find out from somebody else, can you imagine if you heard it from someone else, like say your cousin was talking about it because your aunt and uncle couldn't keep their mouths shut and they were talking to you about it and you found out you're adopted that way.
Puts a damper on all the family get-togethers.
That's crazy. That would ruin Christmas for sure. All right. Also, it keeps everything positive. And the child feels like they were chosen and they weren't rejected by their birth parents. Another thing basically relates to the first point is that it's not a secret. Teachers, doctors, family, everybody can talk about it freely and it's no secrets. It's one less thing you have to worry about. Another thing, keeps the trust intact. So say you found out later on in life that you were adopted, you feel like, a lot of people explain it that the beginning of their life feels like a complete lie. And if you tell them from early on, it just becomes a fact of life. It's nothing different. You don't lose that trust and you just keep going. So then last things we came up with was that they can have their own story. So children love to hear about their birth story. This, knowing that they were adopted, you don't have to make up a story. It's not a secret. They understand that they were adopted, so you can just tell them straight up what happened. And it's cool because they get their own special story rather than just the normal, oh, I was born in this hospital.
Every
blah, blah,
adoption
blah.
story is different.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
So how to tell them is one question that a lot of parents ask. It's important to start early. One parent that we read in an article said that they started the day that they brought the child home. And they said, start explaining them their adoption story. That way the child automatically just knows from day one, they know the word adoption. It's not a foreign thing to them. It's something that they've always heard and it's normal. And it's important just to be honest about the situation. Keep it age appropriate, but don't make up any lies and try to sugarcoat anything. Make sure you answer all of their questions and try to be positive about it. Don't make it sound like their family wasn't good enough, that we are just a better family for you. Mm-hmm. Make it feel like it's just this most exciting thing ever that they have two families that care so much about them. And you have to be supportive. They're going to have questions, and you need to be aware that maybe depending on the age of the child, they may feel a little standoffish for a little bit, but just have to understand that it's just not a normal thing, but it should still be a positive thing.
Yeah. Touching back on keeping this positive, like even if it is a horrendous situation where the mom was a drug addict and couldn't take care of the child or whatever, all you have to say is your birth mom didn't feel like she could give you the best life she could, so she wanted us to have you so you could get the best life that is possible. So it's turning things that are not as great into something more positive, so they have something to
I'm not sure how adoption ever got a negative output anyway.
Right. Whatever. But moving on to the adoption scrapbook. Yeah! So this is our little activity you can do to start the adoption talk early. Yay! So Normally, you would probably want to put a little bit more time and effort into this. However, we were both not adopted, so we didn't have one of these. So we illustrated one, and so
Yes.
this is a family scrapbook.
book.
Yeah. So this is a way to incorporate the adoption early. So make it cute, make it fancy.
Imagine it being much more colorful with lots of
Pictures,
pictures.
lots and lots of actual pictures.
Personalize it to your child's liking.
Mm-hmm. And this is something that you can read to them all the time, and it's something that they're going to want to read and look at and remember for a long time.
Because it's going to be all about them, essentially.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So maybe incorporate the birth family, mention maybe where the family was, where they came from, and their journey all the way over to their adopted family, the family that chose them. And then we can talk about maybe see their birth certificate with the birth parent's name on there and all the legal documents and such. I don't know, maybe just some important things from that day.
Lots and lots and lots of pictures with names of
Yes.
different people who were there, the day that they were adopted, and anything that you think would be important that would make them feel special,
Yes.
essentially, is what we're going for. So, moving on. Next is resources for adoptive families. Counseling is more for children who are older. If you decided not to tell them when they were younger, counseling could be a good way to help these children adjust in their grade school, high school lives, not feeling like they belong anymore, so counseling is a good outlet.
And then adoptive parent groups. I think this is a good idea because the parents, they can meet up and talk with other parents about the whole adoption process. And then I think it would be a good idea maybe to bring the kids too.
Yep.
Because then kids can talk with other adopted kids and they can talk about all of their experiences and feelings and situations and what's great about being adopted.
Yeah, and they can share their family scrapbooks.
Yes.
And their different adopted stories and how interesting their situation has become and how great their life is going. There are also online adoption discussion boards, and these are great for if you have, I don't want to say embarrassing questions, but maybe a question you wouldn't want to ask in person because it makes you feel uncomfortable or you don't know how to ask something, and it's a nice way to get questions answered. And there's also an adoptive families Facebook page.
Yes.
So there's
Even
that
if
too.
you don't have questions, maybe you can get on there and you can find out, I don't know, questions that you didn't know you had from other parents.
That's true.
And then there are always resource centers that are very resourceful. They can set you up with anything that you need as far as counseling or any other assistance that you might need with the child as far as explaining to them the adoption process.
Mm-hmm. And all of the research that we did for this video, we put into web links in the description box down below. And there's our articles down there. And so that brings us to the end of our video. We hope you got some questions answered or at least got you thinking about some things, and the articles we provided were helpful. We do have a survey in the description box as well, so we hope you'd go over there and click on that, and there's a place where you can put in some questions that you have, and we can address it in another Talking with Teachers video if you would like. If there's a reoccurring question, we can do that, or you can email us, send us a message, comment, whatever you may need. But other than that, thanks for watching.
Thanks. And subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, subscribe. Thanks. Have a good night.